I had to. The world's a better place.
Good morrow, fellow world walkers. How fare thee? I'm author D.C. Knipe, the Keeper of Tomes, your guide to realms of wonder, tales untold, and the magic of storytelling. And today we have another Writing Rainbow video, and as you can tell by my murderous intro, we are talking about the phrase, kill your darlings. So, let's get into it. Kill your darlings is a concept attributed to William Faulkner, though it is also traced back to Sir Arthur Quiller Couch. Not sure how to pronounce that. Coach, maybe. Sir Arthur Quiller Couch advised, whenever you feel an impulse to perpetrate a piece of exceptionally fine writing, obey it wholeheartedly and delete it before sending your manuscript to press. Murder your darlings. So, kill your darlings basically boils down to taking things that you love in your manuscript, and if they don't contribute to the overall story or the strength of the writing, cut them. What I mean by that is, say maybe you have a paragraph or 4 describing how beautiful a landscape is. However, and your audience is looking for fantasy, action, adventure stuff, they don't care about how beautiful a flowery field is. You can condense all that down to 1 sentence, or 2 or 3. You don't need multiple paragraphs describing one thing. That's called purple prose, which is very poetic, beautiful, flowery words. And sometimes it's good for the story, sometimes it's not. I'm going to have a whole separate video about that. Other things that could be considered darlings, I would say maybe if you're using a defunct word, maybe one that you particularly like, one that's from the olden times of English, and it might halt the story, or the reader might not understand that word, and they might want to put the book down and go and find out what that word is. Sometimes that's good. I've met people that like learning new words in books, and I've also met people that hate having to put their book down and go look up a dictionary. They hate it. Like they weren't they didn't sign up to read a fantasy book just for like vocabulary words of the day or whatever. Other things, sentence structures, characters even, entire characters, subplots. For example, in my current manuscript, I cut a number of characters and their side plots because they were taking away from the main 3 characters. And the story itself, a lot of them just didn't fit. And I love them dearly, and I still love them dearly. But here is what you do in that case. If you really love these darlings of yours, but you know that they don't fit, take them out. Take them out of that manuscript, tuck them away somewhere in a safe little treasure chest, and pick them back up. Either give them their own stories or place them in a story that they fit better in. Because if you love them enough, they clearly, and you put your heart and soul into them, they clearly mean something to you because they're darlings. Hello. They deserve their own spotlight, their own time to shine. So maybe it's not so much killing your darlings in this case as it is, I don't know, putting them to sleep and then putting them somewhere else. Like Sleeping Curse for Snow White and Sleeping Beauty or something. I don't know. A sleep like death. But yeah. The basic idea of it is to remove unnecessary elements, cut things that don't fit, cut things that take too, or condense things that take too much time, things that just slow down the pace or distract from the point in the main narrative. And just because writing is beautiful doesn't mean that it's strong or good. Sometimes overly poetic, flowery words are. Think of it as like candy. Everyone likes candy, but if you eat too much of it, you get sick. Some things are just too sweet, and with writing, but when take it from my point of view, sometimes when I'm reading a book and it's purple prose everywhere, and sometimes I'm not in the mood to read pretty prose and prose, because I just want action. If you're reading a fantasy book, like say for example the Game of Thrones series, you don't want pretty purple prose everywhere. Maybe when you're describing like a beautiful maiden or like a peaceful meadow, but like for the whole story, it's too sweet. It's going to make you throw up. It's going to make you roll your eyes and just close the book and never pick it back up again. The purpose of it is when you're editing to condense, basically, because not only is prose and things that distract from the narrative, detrimental to the story itself, but it's also, it condenses the story and makes room for better things like action scenes and dialogue and important things that are actually, connected to the story. It strengthens the whole of the narrative. And basically, it's all about prioritizing the strength of your work over your own creativity. I killed some bitches. You can't see it, but I have like makeup and shit on. Let's see. You see it now? Yeah. You can't even see all the work that I did because my lighting. Oh god. Okay. Well, at least you can see it now with my light. Alright. Well, thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you like this little adventure, please by all means hit me with that thumbs up. Have some thoughts, leave a comment, I read them all. I have books, music, and more available for purchase, and I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me that way. All links in description. Thank you for your support, fellow World Walkers. Until next time when we meet again at the crossroads, fare thee well. Bye.